Hey everybody, welcome back, and thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to watch Hello Good Game. Today's a very special video. I'm revealing my personal 4 principles that I use to sideboard and play traditional best of 3. The most common question I get while producing a sideboard is, how do I sideboard against this match? How do I sideboard against that match, right? So these are questions that, though are valid to ask, we can quickly, get around them and become not reliant on others, but self-reliant, which is really nice. And I know that typically sideboarding is one of the harder things for a beginner to begin to do, but hopefully today, with these principles, it becomes a little bit more feasible and accessible. So let's find out what they are and how they can help you sideboard. If you find any value within the video, please give it a thumbs up. It's a great way to help support the channel's growth. With that being said, let's get right into it. The 4 principles that I use to help myself sideboard with relative success over the last 2 years of being a Magic the Gathering Arena content creator. They boil down to 4 questions that I ask myself, and these 4 questions will reveal my sideboard choices for me. The first question: what did I have in the match that performed exceedingly well? The second question: what did I have in the match that did not perform well? Third question: what did my opponent have in the match that performed very well for them? Or what did they have that hindered our overall game plan? And finally, what did our opponent have in that match that had absolutely no impact upon us? So by asking these 4 questions, we'll come up with some really fun answers. The last question, we'll go backwards now, was what did our opponent have that had little or no effect on us? These answers that we come up with will signify cards that our opponent will most likely be removing from their deck. So we now know that we do not have to worry about them. Even though they had little effect on us before, we can surmise that they will no longer be included in the deck because of that reason. Moving forward, what cards did our opponent have that really hindered our overall game plan or just, generally performed very well for them? We want to be dealing with these cards, right? So this will reveal to us some potential sideboard plays, right? So we look at our sideboard and what cards did we have now that dealt with those threats? Whether it was a creature, an artifact, an enchantment, maybe instances and sorceries. We determine what it was that was really hard for us to deal with, and then we look for something to disrupt it, whether it be removal, a counter spell, some form of draw engine, something like this, who knows? And again, this is why we develop these principles and questions and get used to asking them over and over and over again each match, so they become ingrained and we are really actually no longer asking them at a certain point. We're just going free will. And this is where it gets a lot of fun. Because in my opinion, Magic was meant to be played in best of 3. I love best of 1, but best of 3 is just the meat and potatoes. So that second question, I guess it would have been the third question as we're moving backwards. But, what did our opponent have that performed really good? We need to, whether we're stopping it from entering play, whether we need to exile it, whether we just need to destroy it, stuff like this. Maybe it's a Planeswalker and we need Planeswalker removal. So it's the questions that will reveal the answers for you. What did they have that was good? How do you deal with it? Really, really easy. Next up, we're talking about what we had that didn't perform well, right? This will, basically allow those cards to switch. We want to be dropping all of our dead cards. Again, this could mean anything from you have creature removal, they have no creatures, right? Something like this. So any card that had little or no value for you in your deck can easily, be set aside. And now these are the first cards that you'll begin to exchange for your picks that we just did to help us shut down our opponent's cards, right? Because we need to stop their big plays. And the first question that we now cycle back to last is the cards that we had that performed very well for us. How can we ensure that our opponent can't deal with these cards? Because they should be typically, asking these same questions to themselves, right? So they're going to want to deal with your biggest threats. Now, how can you mitigate, that effect? So the disruption needs to be countered. You need to play some form of recursion, perhaps. And again, it's going to be the answers or the questions that reveal the answers for us, which is really nice. So, it could be a million possibilities, right? But how can we protect our strategy or synergy or the cards that performed very well in the specific matchup against, their sideboarded removal? Because they're looking to counter our big threats, we're looking to counter their big threats, and we both take out our dead cards. This is the general strategy and synergy to sideboarding, right? To just fine-tune everything, kind of cut the dead weight, and, at this point, once we already know what matchup we're in, right? We know whether we're playing an aggro deck, a control deck, a combo deck, mid-range, etc., etc. We can now not only fine-tune our deck, but we can take it one step further, and this is a bonus principle for you guys. You can prioritize your opening hand through mulligans to find a specific answer for your opponent. If they had a very early drop that you needed to counter, you can find the answer for it. A good example of this is playing against goblins in Historic. If you do not drop a Grafdigger's Cage, it's going to be really, really hard. So that's sad. However, it's these accounts of foreknowledge that will allow you to really get an advantage. So you can not only fine-tune your deck, but now you can preemptively grab an opening hand based on what deck you're playing against, which is a lot of fun. And these are some things that not everybody is thinking about. So if you can incorporate all of this into your gameplay style, your thought process, etc., you will definitely have an advantage and begin to curate a more refined ability at this, right? These are just general ideas and questions to kind of get you guys on the right path and going, much like myself, right? I'm a beginner not too long ago. So these have really helped me, right? I transitioned from someone who was absolutely terrified to play best of 3 into someone who actually prefers it and now loves it. Again, I make a lot of best of 1 content because that's what the majority of the audience is into. But again, I get a question every video I make without a sideboard. What sideboard could I make? Because there are a few of you who do like best of 3, and I hope that this helps you not only with your own sideboard decisions, but again, you could incorporate this now into making your own sideboards if you really want to, once you begin to discover the meta. But that's a different video, you guys. Thank you for your time and attention. Remember your principles. What did I have that worked really good? What did I have that did not work at all? What did my opponent have that worked really good? And what did they have that did not work at all? Both of you will leave your did not work at alls, and you'll try to reinforce your did works, and also try to, mitigate your opponent's works. So through, this forethought, you can really begin to make the appropriate decisions, which is really, really nice. Again, you guys are going to up your win rate through this and have a little bit of a more enjoyable experience, I hope. That's enough rambling for me, though. Thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the channel to a friend. And if you're here to the end, let's get those woofs down in the comments. Take care, and we'll see you soon in the next video.